I have come here to meet Kuan Yew. He is the founder of modern Singapore and a man much admired for making his city a prosperous country and an economic power. Although some criticize his methods, he has no regrets for the choices he made to build Singapore. I've interviewed him 3 times. He is 88 now and walks carefully. His beloved wife of 63 years, Chu, died last year. His son is the Prime Minister. The sharpness that made Singapore is very much present. I've come here, like so many others, to talk about the world today, about America and China, about the Middle East and Asia, and about Singapore. He understands life's clock, which makes it a time to look back and to look forward. We begin with the future, which has always been his subject.
How do you see it, this Arab Spring?
Well, the analysis that I have read, the one I find most credible, was that differentiates between Arab states that have become nations and Arab states that still remain tribal. The ones that have become nations are Morocco, Tunisia, Egypt. I mean, there is an Egyptian nation.
Right.
There's no Libyan nation. There's multiple tribes.
Right.
So when these nations change their leadership, a nation remains and a new leadership emerges, not tribal. Whether it's military dictator or dictatorship or a civilian with a military behind it, that's left to be seen. I do not see democracy taking root because there's no history of counting votes.
So what will happen?
Oh, just back to status quo with a new team.
But do you think that these revolutions can be hijacked, whether it's Egypt or whether it's
hijacked by whom?
By people who are on the side of the protesters, or by people like, in Egypt's case, whether the Muslim Brotherhood will do well in the elections? And
right. The Muslim Brotherhood is always a force underground. In a free election, if they were to participate, they have never proved that they can carry the majority.
But some say they're better organized than anybody else.
Yeah, that's all right. They still haven't got the majority. Because the Egyptian population as a whole does not want a severe Muslim state.
What impact, if any, do you think this will have on the appeal of fundamental Islamic radicalism?
It will encourage radicals in other Islamic states, but the people don't think that's the solution to their problems.
They don't think
No.
fundamentalist Islam is a solution to their problem.
How can you solve it? You've got to face the problems of the modern world: growth, jobs, and an adjustment to different social values and cultures in a globalized village.
Do you think the president has explained our interest, the United States' interest in this well?
Well, the French have taken the lead. They know the area well. Sarkozy has, I think, very courageously gone ahead regardless of what the U.S. was willing to do.
By recognizing the rebel?
Yes. I think he knows that if Gaddafi stays there, he'd have no end of problems with Libya.
They can't let Gaddafi stay, can they?
But they made him a war criminal. So how can he leave without ending up in The Hague? So somebody has got to see him and tweak that problem, finesse that problem. But they cannot let him stay. I agree with that completely. If they let him stay, it'll be a two-state Libya. He with his clan, and then the majority of tribes against him, and constant warring.
Back to the American president. Is it a dilemma for us that we choose to do something where Libya is involved, but not where Bahrain is involved? Or certainly not if Saudi Arabia has it?
No.
Those are understandable and explainable.
No. I know Bahrain, I know Saudi Arabia, I know Libya. There are two different categories. Libya is tribal with a dictator on top. Saudi Arabia is feudal with a king on top. A massive oil wealth which is used to keep his people happy. Bahrain is a Sunni minority ruling over a Shia majority. And the Shias confronted the Sunni rulers, wanted, with the encouragement of Iran, to get a bigger share of power, which will have repercussions on Saudi Arabia because the oil wells to the east are all Shias. So Saudi Arabia intervened in a massive way and put it down. But there are two different types of problems. And I would go along with what has been done in Saudi Arabia and Bahrain and what is being done in Libya. In fact, I think in Libya, more has to be done to resolve the problem with Gaddafi.
Is there humanitarian reason to do this?
The way he has killed his own people has made him a war criminal. I mean, he's been branded a war criminal.
So he has no choice but to fight to the end.
That's right.
There's no way he can buy his way out or anything else.
Well, you can't say. I mean, in the end, they may sort of do a plea bargain. But who will take him?
What does the world want from the United States in 2011?
Still leadership.
Leadership.
Yes. Because you're the only mover and shaker with the wherewithal. You take China, she's second largest economy, but she hasn't got the false projections nor the interest to a worldwide interest. She only concentrates on those areas where she needs oil or other resources.
Yeah, but you have said that China's intent is to be the greatest power in the world.
There's no doubts about that, but it may take them more than 10 years.
How long? But you've said they'll do it. They'll be the world's greatest economic power in 20 years.
But that doesn't make them a technological power in 20 years. They'll still be behind the U.S. Yes, they put up a stealth fighter, but they put a man into space. That's prodigious effort on their part.
Is the face-off between China and the United States going to come primarily in the Pacific?
No,
is that where the struggle will be?
I don't think there'll be a face-off in the sense of a conflict.
I don't mean a military conflict, but I mean a struggle for...
A struggle for influence. Yes. I think it would be a subdued struggle because the Chinese need the U.S. Chinese need U.S. markets, need U.S. technology, needs to have a student go to the U.S. to study U.S. ways and means of doing business so that they can improve their law. That is going to take them 10, 20, 30 years. So they quarrel with the U.S. and become bitter enemies. All that information and all that technological capabilities will be cut off from them. So it will be maintained at a level which allows them to still tap the U.S.
You knew Deng Xiaoping well. What would he be doing today? Would he be any different than Hu Jintao?
I cannot say, because Deng Xiaoping was of a different generation, and what he says goes. The journalists will not question him. Our political leaders will not question him. He's supreme. Hu Jintao is not supreme. Yeah. So he's got to have a consensus.
You know what fascinates me about the Chinese is that I read that Deng Xiaoping pretty much dictated his successors and even chose Hu Jintao.
Yeah, because Hu Jintao put down the rebellion in Tibet.
That was
effectively, and that impressed Deng Xiaoping.
But Jiang Zemin did not want Hu Jintao.
Well, Jiang Zemin had other ideas. He wanted somebody more like him.
How would you define more like him?
Well, urbane, more savoir-faire, and able to present China to the world with a friendly face, which Hu Jintao is hard put to do because it's
Why?
It's late, it's a bit wooden. I mean, he keeps this perpetual smile. You don't know whether it's a smile of disdain or a smile of assent. It is of a different character altogether.
Who do you like in the Chinese leadership today?
I like them all. I have
Okay. You have to.
to. But of all the Chinese leaders,
Today.
the one I like to do business with is Wang Qishan.
I thought you'd say that. There is talk that he may stay on even though he's 65.
Well, if I were them, I'd keep him on. They haven't got anybody near him. Practical, hard-headed, humorous, quick repartee, and makes the right decisions from the Chinese point of view.
And he's had some successes, the Beijing Olympics and,
Yes.
and other things.
Yeah.
You think they'll keep him on? You'll give him a...
Well, if I were them, I'd keep him on because he's outstanding.
You think state capitalism will be the model for the future? The economic model for the future?
For China?
For many countries that might want to follow China?
No. State capitalism is not as effective as private capitalism. Would you stay awake till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning if it's not your company at stake with the latest oil crisis?
No.
So you wake up tomorrow morning knowing that your salary is intact. And if it's your capital and your shares, your stakes involved, and the other stakeholders also make sure that you're on the ball or they remove you, you've got to stay focused. So I believe very strongly that private capitalism easily outdoes state capitalism.
Define what Singapore has.
More and more private capitalism.
More
we
and more.
started off with state capitalism because we did not have the entrepreneurs. Our entrepreneurs were traders, and traders have no capital and do not have the foresight or the capability to sink in capital for many years before a return comes in. So the state sent out its best officers who were entrepreneurial and started off. National Shipping Line, Neptune Oriental Lines, Singapore Airlines, we have privatized them.
Singapore has a very good relationship with China. One, there's a long history. Deng Xiaoping came here to see what you were doing and sent a lot of Chinese over here to, as you have described to me in other conversations. How about your neighbors? How about Malaysia?
Well, they want to make friends with the Chinese too. And they're learning Chinese and using that Chinese to learn to be the front runners.
How about South Korea?
South Koreans are the biggest student population in China now.
Biggest student population in China.
Yeah, because the parents are opening companies there and they got to understand the Chinese psyche and the language and the network.
So the South Koreans are sending their students to China, and the Chinese are sending their students to America.
And elsewhere.
And elsewhere, Europe.
No.
South Korea. How about Indonesia?
Indonesia depends on the Indonesian Chinese who go to China on their behalf.
Vietnam.
Now, Vietnam is a special case. It's a long history of non-friendliness, and they are chary of the Chinese, and they were not chary just for political reasons. I mean, you take motorbikes, for instance. If they have free trade agreement with China, their motorbike industry will be wiped out. The Chinese motorbikes will be cheaper and better.
So they can't have a free trade agreement.
No. Not only can they not have a free trade agreement, they cannot really get close to China.
Are most of the countries in the Asian region scared of China? Wary of China?
Wary, I would say, is a problem, is the word. Not scared. Wary in that if you know you will take a step which hurts their core interests, that'll be retribution.
What they would do is shut off their markets to your
Yeah, surely.
goods.
That's the least they can do.
That's the least. What else?
Cut off your businessmen.
Cut off your businessmen?
Doing business there.
So that economic stick is always there.
Absolutely. I mean, let's not pretend. There's 1.3 million customers with growing incomes, attractive. And do you want to miss the boat? And they're going to have a growing middle class. So, if you're out of it, you've lost something.
The growing Chinese middle class is good for everybody, though.
Oh, yes.
It makes a consumer demand that everybody wants a piece of,
Exactly.
including India.
I'm not sure,
You're not sure India does?
because they're scared of the competition. The Chinese have offered the Indians a free trade agreement. The Indians have not snapped at it, because then Chinese goods will go into India and compete, and the Chinese car will knock out the Maruti.
So what should the United States do? Should it be rushing into Asia saying, we want free trade agreements with everybody? We want to give you an economic opportunity with us?
Yes, I would do that.
That's a first step.
Yeah, I would do that.
What else?
I would say make friends with all. Don't take sides. You gain nothing by taking sides. You can't change the dynamics. But naturally, you'll be wanting to help the weaker players.
What did you think of Secretary Clinton's speech in Hanoi?
Yeah. I thought it was good. She drew the red lines. That these claims over the islets must go in accordance with the law of the sea and not just by brute force.
The Chinese had sort of said they're within
Yeah. They produced an old map.
an old map that said these are ours,
So
navigational rights. And she came in and said,
they go by the law of the sea, which means where is it nearest to?
yeah, exactly. But here's an interesting question. Some people looked at that and especially some Chinese, and said, by going to Hanoi and making that speech, it was an insult to us.
No.
What?
I mean, he would rather not have that speech made at all.
Yeah, of course. But it wasn't rubbing it into them.
No,
to
but
their
I mean, supposing she made it in Beijing, would that have made it less of a disappointment?
But was this also the United States saying to China, we're not going to cooperate with you at every turn? Was it a message to China?
Well, yes, of course. It is. I think the Chinese are aware that it is in the interest of the United States in this contest for allegiance of the other countries in Asia to try and equal the balance by making sure that India and the other states do not become too dependent on China. And in the case of India, that she would be able to grow and build up a navy that will hold the Indian Ocean in place of the Chinese Navy.
And the United States is adding to its submarine fleet. The United States has more of a military presence than it had.
Yes, but is it going to be used? It's a
what?
It's a standoff. Supposing you have a fight with the Chinese over Taiwan and you win, is that the end of the problem?
Never.
There'll be a second round, there'll be a third round, there'll be a fourth round. Because they have abiding interests which you do not have because of geography and demography and compelling interests. So I think it's really to trim the sharp edges of the Chinese, keep them relatively less aggressive. But a conflict will not help.
China will be creating, a huge market because of the number of people who become middle class.
Yeah.
1.3 billion growing. Are there risks for them?
Well, they have enormous problems. A disparity in incomes between the coastal cities and the inland provinces, disparity in incomes between the people who are at the top in the coastal cities and the people at the bottom of the coastal cities. Rapid growth leads to this very big Gini coefficients. And they've got to watch that carefully, or they might get severe discontent and civil disorder.
Could an Arab Spring come to China?
Not likely. Public security is so comprehensive and tight. They call this a velvet revolution. When it took place in the Arab world, and somebody put it on Facebook and said, let's gather.
But
they were put down before anybody could gather anywhere.
and they tightened up things, especially foreign journalists, after the events in Egypt. And
I don't know about that, but I wouldn't be
reported.
surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. No, they're not interested in what the world thinks of them. They're interested in their own internal stability and good order and success.
Is there a different Chinese attitude about the future than the United States?
They do not believe that what works for them can work for other people. If you want to try my system, go ahead. But I have special circumstances that allowed me to build up the system. I'm not interested in changing regimes. I'll deal with you as you are, whether you're a dictatorship, whether you're a tribal leader, whatever. And we maintain good relations. I need your oil, I need your resources. Let's do business. There's no evangelistic urge to change things.
Is America, you think, a proselytizing country? They want to sell their values and they believe in their values and they want everybody to...
It always has been and always will be.
A kind of missionary zeal.
Yeah. That the world can be made a bigger and a better place if everybody becomes like America, which I don't think it can be, but if you want to try, or go ahead.
Some people look at China and they say, there's been no Google formed in China. There's been no Facebook developed in China. No Microsoft developed in China. And that says something about their educational system.
Partly the educational system, but partly because there's very tight control at the top. They do not like the established order to be tinkered with. If it's working fine, leave it. And if anybody has something good, we'll borrow it and test it out. Why take the risk? Their attitude is, let's play it safe. If you let 1.3 billion smart guys experimenting, you'll have near chaos. And they're capable of thinking up new things. I'll give you an example. I go on the computer for translations now into Chinese and vice versa.
Yes.
And it's all done free. The Chinese have done it. It's called
Yes.
Ciku.
Insiku.
Ciku is a reservoir, Ciku. And you can do wonders with it. And there are many such things. You can, anything you want to do on the internet, There's no need to go to Google. You can go to Baidu and
Yeah,
do the
Baidu is
same.
a Chinese search engine.
Yeah,
It's a large one, too. They own 60, 70% of the Chinese market.
that's right.
What did you think of what the Chinese did to Google?
Well, they didn't want Google to become a vehicle for subversion, what they called subversion, the spreading of ideas inimical to the stability of the state.
Do you think they're too paranoid?
Chinese fear of any government is luan, means chaos.
Yes.
It's a huge country, and you cannot control everything. You cannot micro-control it, so you just say, stop it.
Let's talk about Singapore.
Yes.
So you agreed to sit down with 7 or 8 journalists from the Straits Times, a well-known newspaper here in Singapore, and said, I'll talk about anything. And then they published this book. Did you do that because you were worried that the young people did not understand Singapore and you wanted to make sure you got to them?
Yes, I think. I'm worried that they believe that we have arrived and we can go on autopilot.
That we can go on autopilot.
Yeah, it's not possible.
So what are you worried about?
The base is a very narrow one. It's 700 and something square kilometers. And we built this 100-story edifice.
Yes.
And you keep that base steady, you might be able to go up to 150.
Right.
But if you tinker around and believing that it's for forever, it might come crumbling down. So please remember, this base is narrow, and so margins of error are small. So make sure when you reach a decision, you've got a fallback.
Some people say that Singapore has crystallized the question, what price for prosperity and security?
Yes.
That's the question that you have.
We've had to tackle that question.
And how have you done that?
First, to make sure that there is no instability. We had the different races live together peacefully, different religions not clash, disparate income groups mingled in the same mix of states, so there's no ghettos. And we can go around Singapore, I challenge you to find a ghetto, because the rich and the poor, other than super rich who own private homes, they're all living in one milieu. Same shops, same playing fields, same schools. So it's a level playing field for everyone. The most important is schooling, health, housing. Now that has been achieved, and that has to be maintained. But I've also had to put restrictions on the tendency for people of the same race to gather.
You didn't want them living in ghettos.
No, they gather together.
Okay.
So Malays would get together, Indians would get together, Chinese would get together in these tower blocks. Then you've got a problem. So every block you have a quota, and it reflects the percentage of the population of these various races. So you willy-nilly, you have your neighbors who are Chinese, Indians, or Malays, and your children have got to know them, go up and down the same lifts, go to the same schools. So it's a structural device, a social device, a social structure that forces you to understand the different races and make you coexist together.
Where did you get these political ideas of yours?
Well, I watched them after 2 riots, 3 riots.
After 2 or 3 riots?
Yeah. there were riots. There were, we had these Malay enclaves, and they were poor and dirty, no sanitation.
This was before 65 or after 65?
No, before 65.
Before 65.
1950s.
So you began to form the ideas that you thought you would like to see Singapore become before Malaysia in 1964.
Oh, yeah, indeed. And that we hope we could make Malaysia the same. Now, the Malays did not want that. They want a Malay society with the Malays dominant, so we got turfed out. Now they got a serious problem because the Chinese and the Indians are separate from them, go to separate schools. Chinese go and learn Chinese. Indians learn Malay. They live in different places. They got disparate communities. But we have one community. One, I'm not saying we are one nation yet, but we are one society.
And you have made speeches, including in this year, promoting the idea of the kind of social cohesion of multiple parties from multiple ethnic.
Yes. Without that, you get no progress. If you're fighting each other all the time, how can you get progress?
But do you worry that if, in fact, there is more political discourse among the young, that it will lead to racial politics?
No. They can have all the discourse they like, but race, language, and religion, please tread carefully.
How can you tread carefully?
You know that these are sensitive issues, and you don't want to stir up a hornet's nest. Now, I said in that book that I think the Malays, the Muslims, should be relaxed and eat together with the others.
And it created a firestorm.
Yeah,
and your son said the prime minister differed with you.
That's right.
So were you right or was your son right?
He has to be right because he's the prime minister.
But
you ask the average person in the street whether what I've said is true.
And they would say?
You ask them.
You were born of a well-to-do family, or?
Well, we weren't poor.
Okay. You went to Cambridge to law school.
Yeah.
Did you then think that you wanted to go into politics?
Yes, because I saw no reason why the British should run the place. I competed with them. I knew them as a society. And I think given the chance, we would do better because we know the people better than they do.
So you joined and helped be part of an anti-colonialist People's Party.
And we have done better than the British ever did because we mixed up the people and combined. The British kept us segregated from the time Stamford Raffles built the place. He marked out areas. Chinese live here, Malays lived here, Indians lived here, Arabs lived here. In the 19th century, they were very disparate peoples and he didn't want riots. So he segregated them. But I've got to make one society out of these people. I've got to get them to understand each other, even if they don't like each other.
And that's why you think it's fragile?
Yes, of course. It's not inside, it's not in the DNA yet. It's enforced by sheer living conditions, physical living conditions, and everyday intermingling. Same schools, same playing fields, same shopping centers, same neighbors.
When you were at Cambridge, you met and married your remarkable wife, who died in October. She was a political partner of yours, in a sense?
Yes.
She edited and listened and helped you with the speeches and everything else?
Yes, she corrected my drafts. I'm busy, I dictated. Yeah. She'll correct it.
And she actually raised a family, too.
Yeah.
You have described yourself as a kept man.
Which I was, because she was earning more money than I did.
As a lawyer.
Yeah.
She was with you in 1965,
Yeah,
when you actually cried on television,
yeah.
what were you crying about?
I cried because an idea, an ideal was shattered. That we could have a non-racial society in Malaysia and Singapore. And we had already made moves and mobilized a large part of the population there, Chinese, Indians, and some Malays, into standing and working for a Malaysian Malaysia. And they turfed us out. That was the end of our enterprise. And
So you
our
were
endeavor.
crying over the anguish that what might have been couldn't be.
Yeah, and I had to leave behind all the people that mobilized. They were left leaderless.
Did you dream it could be what it is today?
Not in the actual form it is, because the forms have been, the physical landscape has been the result of technological improvements imported from outside. There's the globalized village that allowed us, to have marina sands and ballet and all that, all the rest of it. But that we have an intermingled population, one society, that was planned. That was the aim. And it's still work in progress, but we should continue that work.
Someone said that you built a first-class oasis in a third world region, and you've been praised for your efficiency and incorruptibility, but you have been accused by human rights groups of limiting political freedom and intimidating through libel lawsuits.
How can you intimidate through libel lawsuits? It's ridiculous. Lawyers will tell you it's either a libel, in which case I can win the case, or it's not a libel, in which case a judge will throw it out and I have to pay damages.
Yeah, but you're prepared to be a litigious fellow.
Yes. Rather than have to knock him down politically. I go to court and says, I'm here, cross-examine me. As the plaintiff, I'm saying that what you said was a packet of lies. Here I am now. Put me to cross-examination.
You have also said that while you might have done things in retrospect that you shouldn't have done, you always did them for the honorable reasons.
From time looking back, there are things which I think I might have done better.
Like?
Like not forcing the pace of getting people to change their languages.
You made English the language.
Yeah. We were speaking in multiple tongues, like the Tower Babel.
Yes.
Chinese speaking 7, 8 dialects, Malay speaking 3, 4 Indonesian dialects, Tamils 4, 5, and English a smattering, a very bad form of English.
This is why you were against what they call Singlish.
Yes, I still am.
You still are. Even though the youth sort of have their own language.
No, it's, you want a language which you can communicate to with the world easily. And if you speak your own patois of English, you're disadvantaging yourself. I once went to Jamaica for a Commonwealth conference, and I'll never forget this. They took over an American holiday resort to house us. So all the cooks and so on were blacks, good cooks. But they spoke in a quaint accent. And so I went out to watch the fishermen bring the fish in. So I asked him, what kind of fish? He said, dam spreads. I said, what's that? Dam spreads. I figured out, oh, they are spreads. Okay. Well, that was the result of an amalgamation of many African dialects with the slave master's language. Now, we inherited the English language from the British. We decided in this multiracial society to make it the working language, and Chinese, Malay, Indian, whatever, the second language.
Are you worried today about the declining birth rate?
Nothing can be done about it.
Nothing.
It's a lifestyle change. The women are educated. They're completely independent. They don't marry until they're in their mid-30s as late childbearing.
Here's my impression.
Yeah.
That you, because you have shown results, believe that the prime minister became, senior minister became minister mentor, knows best what's, and feels strongest about what's good for Singapore. And worries most about threats against it.
Yeah. What is best that will see Singapore continue to thrive and to prosper. And if you don't reproduce yourself and you have migrants overwhelming the local population, we haven't got that yet. Today, the migrants are only 30%, and I think we should never allow them to become near 50%. Then they will change us. We want them to become...
So what would you do to make sure they don't become 50%?
Just make sure the numbers are kept down.
So how would you do that? Immigration restrictions?
Yes.
Is that what it's going to come to?
Just take in the high-quality people, those with tertiary education.
Do you worry a bit, though, that Singaporeans, because of all this prosperity, are becoming a bit soft?
No, not soft. They're becoming self-centered.
Or taking for granted what
No, they're hardworking, hard driving, enjoy life, travel, have a good time. They work hard and they play hard. They're not going soft.
You have said, with respect, that they don't feel the spur in their hide.
That's because they don't think it's necessary to strive anymore. We're already here, we have arrived. Our standard of living won't go down, just leave it.
And so what's your message to them when they say that?
This needs more than an autopilot.
Yeah.
You run into storms, you run into air pockets, and the pilot and his co-pilot and the spare pilots must be on board, and passengers must be alive, and awake, and alert.
I sense you're worried.
I'm worried because if they, the new leaders and the population as a whole, do not realize the small base on which this is built, and they take liberties with it, we could go down quickly. Spiral down, a vicious circle down.
Quickly?
Yes. Standards of living will go up, confidence will disappear, investments will disappear.
So your legacy is that you have presided over, encouraged, led this prosperity. Your developing legacy is you want to make sure that it is sustainable.
I want to make sure that this place always commands confidence. Confidence brings in investments and brings in talent. With investments and talents, we will prosper. And that confidence should never be jeopardized by riots, civil commotion, strife of any kind.
Strife of any kind?
Yeah. Not necessary.
Can Singapore, will Singapore have, and can it, under what you want to see, a true democracy?
American style?
Yes.
No.
What's an American-style democracy?
Your First Amendment says you can say anything you like.
Yes. You can't have that.
You cannot say anything you like about religion, race, and culture. They are forbidden. They are sensitive for gut issues. You will cause a stir, and you're in big trouble.
So that's the price you pay for prosperity and security.
No, those are no-go areas.
They're what?
No-go areas, red lines.
No-go areas. You can't go there.
Yeah.
Do you wish you'd had a bigger fishbowl to achieve your miracle in? Did you? This is a small island. It's 40 minutes from one end to the other.
It's very difficult to have a little piece of jade and craft it beautifully.
What is it that makes you this strategic thinker that people come to for advice?
No, first, I do not believe people come to me to seek advice. They come to me to bounce ideas and just to test them out.
But what is it you have?
Experience. I'm 88. I've lived long, and I've not forgotten my mistakes.
You and I talked about America's deficit and debt problems, and its seeming political dysfunction to do anything about it.
I still am. I still am worried.
How do you see it?
Somehow, the leaders think they can tweak the problem without pain. And they're afraid to tell the people, look, we've got to do this. We've got to make these cuts. And over the period of X number of years, 5, 6, 7, our deficits will go. That's the only way. Otherwise, it keeps on growing, and your interest rates burden will grow with it.
And not dealing with the core problems of entitlements and social security and
all that has got to be
defense spending.
I mean, the baby boomers will have to recognize that the world they expected is not the world they're living in.
So they have to do what?
They have to forego the kind of benefits.
The kind of benefits, as well as the rate of consumption.
Yeah. Otherwise, you keep on going.
You believe that if we do not do something about it, we become an
indebted country.
We're already an indebted country.
Become more indebted, and eventually you have inflation. You are indebted in a different way from other countries. Other countries borrow US dollars or pounds or euro, and they got to pay back. You owe yourself US dollars. So you're under no pressure to pay back, but you're under pressure from such a huge amount of currency floating around that you get inflation.
Well, the Chinese fear inflation too.
Oh, but theirs is for a different reason. Theirs is property prices, sectional imbalances.
Should the United States be worried about the fact that the Chinese hold so much debt, of our debt, and therefore, I think Secretary Clinton has said, it's hard to negotiate with your banker.
Yes, but because your banker has such a large stake in you, he can't afford to see you go down.
Yes.
It works two ways. Yeah. And they know that.
Is it possible that the United States and China will find a way to cooperate on all these huge issues like climate and environment and other big transnational issues?
Yes, I think so, but not completely. I mean, you take climate. They know that if the glaciers in the Tibetan highlands disappear, the rivers will go seasonal. And that means in the non-rainy seasons, no crops. So they've got to do something about it. Just for their own domestic interests, but can they stop building 2 coal-powered stations a day? Because that's the energy they need. No, they are faced with the dilemma. Yes, they're going in for wind, sun, turbine, sea power, but they see growth as essential, 8%, to keep the momentum and the unemployment down.
So it would be 8%, not double digit,
Well, not double digit.
not 10 anymore, more like 7 or 8.
No.
It is said about you that you are increasingly aware of mortality.
Oh, I've been so for some time. At 88, how long more have I got?
But you're not a religious man.
No, but that doesn't stop me from contemplating the ultimate.
And what do you think when you contemplate?
Has the life I lived been worthwhile? Have I made the world around me or those who depended on my decisions, given them a better life? Am I happy with my family? And I think on most of them, I give myself a B+. That's enough.
You also said once that you do not judge a man until the coffin closes because he might do something foolish.
That's right. So I got to be very careful.